we encourage our loan officers to create those relationships and go open houses, not to get a buyer at that specific open house, which is a possibility, right? You
Yeah.
might come across someone who doesn't have a lender yet, and give them some information, add value, and hopefully earn their business. But most importantly is to help the realtor. So if you can add value to your business partner's business as well, automatically that'll generate business for you. You cannot just call and say, Margarita, give me a loan.
Yeah.
She's like, well, I got the same call 9 times today. What can you do for me, right? So instead of asking for business, first add value to their business, and then the referral will come automatically. Because if they can see that you're there to help them, support them, so the purpose would be to assist them in the open houses. A lot of buyers come in. The first questions are usually loan related. Every time I do a live with any realtors, or I do a office meeting with a group of realtors, all the questions are loan related, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's a really
first time
important
home
part.
buyers, yeah. So for first time home buyers, they never ask. This, I want a 2-story house or a one, first it's like, how much is going to be my payment, right?
Yeah.
Can I qualify? I only have 5% down. Can I do it? I had a bankruptcy last year. Can I do it? So it's all loan related questions, which it's not realtors' specialty. Now, the good realtors, again, study, right? Be knowledgeable. So the good realtors learn
Yeah.
aspect of every part of their business, right? Which lending is a big part of their business.
Yeah.
So the successful realtors are very knowledgeable, and when something changes, they call their lender and they get educated. They're like, I have a couple of questions. I want to just make sure I'm up to date on these things because clients are asking. Having that knowledge separates you from the next realtor who just says, oh, I want to sell you a house. And they're like, well, can I do this? They don't know. And then they take a number and then they give it to their lender, and the lender has to call them. So it delays things in that few days or few hours even. They may find someone else. So having the basic knowledge, it definitely helps. And that's why I always make myself available to the realtors. I say, look, if I have PowerPoints on this, I meet them one-on-one, and I help educate them. So I go through loan products, loan lingo, right? And just basic information to help them capture that next buyer who may be
you're
otherwise
giving them the
on
confidence, information.
Exactly. Right. You cannot be a realtor and just sell.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with
You have to know what you're selling.
Right, exactly. You have to know about title. You have to know about title policies. You have to know what escrow does. You have to know how taxes work. You have to know what the new tax rules are, because clients want someone who can answer all their questions, right? If you keep referring people out for every small question, at some point they realize, are you just opening the door for me? Because I don't need a realtor like that, right? So it's very competitive. I mean, real estate sales is even more competitive than ours. Right.
Wow.
So there's, I don't know what the latest figures are, but it's tens of thousands of realtors just in LA County, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very competitive market. So how do you add value, right? You don't want to be the realtor who just writes an offer and opens a door. You want to be a realtor where people call and you're the source of knowledge, source of information, right? So same thing as basic tax rules. They may be, I'll give you a simple example. There are people who are hesitant to sell their home because they think they're going to get taxed on the gains. Let's say they bought their house for $500,000 and now they're selling it for $1 million. They may be hesitant because average person doesn't know these things. So if you're a realtor and they call you and you say, hey, are you married? They're like, yes. How long have you been living there? For 2 years. Oh, okay, you have a $500,000 exemption with the IRS. If you're married, on the first $500,000, you have an exemption on your taxes. Oh, great, let's sell it, right? But if you don't know that, you're going to try to sell it, right? You're going to try to convince them to sell their home, and then it becomes a salesy thing, then they walk away at some point.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
they don't want to deal with the sale. No one likes a salesperson.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, right? we've been to dealerships.
Anyone can sell you something, but
Right.
if they're adding value, like you said, to the transaction, making it
Right.
more comfortable, just also knowing what questions to answer, because sometimes the client doesn't know what questions to ask. And if you have someone like Artin coming along and teaching you about the new updates, and you have this in your arsenal, before the client even asks the question, you might be able to address the issues, address the concerns, and that
Absolutely.
also comes along with experience. Based on what other people have asked you, you know ahead of time what questions to address with your clients.
Right. Yeah. And the more transactions you do, you build up this knowledge base, and you know what first time home buyers questions, and then you start giving them answers where they didn't have questions too, right? They
Yeah.
never thought about such and such, and they're like, wow, that's great point, thank you for bringing it up. So it's really important. There are realtors who, unfortunately, sometimes we give the honest answer to the clients, and sometimes it backfires, and the realtors, why did you tell them that? I'm like, well, they need to know, right?
Yeah.
So, they need to know this this building has HOA losses, for example. I know you want to sell the unit, but the client needs, yes, honesty can sometimes backfire, but the upside is a lot more than the downside.
Yeah, it's
of
better
being
if it
honest.
backfires up front than during the sale process or
Absolutely.
at the end.
Right, or God forbid, even a lawsuit afterwards because
Yeah.
you lied to the client, and those things happen. We see it every day, where realtors lied on certain things, whether you're a listing agent or a buyer's agent, and these things can happen. So don't be so desperate to make that sale because you're gonna do things that you don't want to otherwise do. So the car salesman is a perfect example because all of us have experienced it, right? So you've had those moments where you walk into the lot and the person just wants to sell you anything. And then other times you walk in and a pleasant person comes in, they ask about you, they ask what you like, they tell you about the car, and at no point they discuss what payment you want to make, how much down payment
Yeah.
you want to, right? So that's the person you trust and you call every time. So be the person who's giving information and add value, right? Whether it's a client or a realtor, it doesn't matter. You're adding value to them.
Oh yeah, and the consumer, especially when it comes to spending big money, whether it's
Right.
for a car or home, they feel this and they're very wary. So to break down that barrier, they have to feel the honesty. They have to feel that you care and they're not just another paycheck.
Absolutely. And people notice. A lot of sales people think people don't notice, but people notice every small point in how you bring things up, what you leave out. If you leave information out and they find out elsewhere, you lost their
Yeah.
trust already.
And there's some people like my brother who he has so much experience selling cars because that's his industry. And whenever I was shopping for my car, obviously he was the person helping
Right.
me, and he'll sit there and he'll let the salesperson talk and lie to him. And
Right.
then in the end, he says what he knows and
Exactly.
how it actually is. And do you think we're going to give our business to that person
No.
or the person who's being very honest and upfront with you and addressing all your concerns as a client?
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, people notice it. They may not notice on the first car they buy or the second, but they will. And then again, our industry is very competitive now, right? We're not standing at a car lot selling cars where people come to you. You have to go and earn the trust and get clients. So it gets more difficult, especially when you're new.
For sure.
You have
Yeah.
to invest the time.
Yeah. In the beginning, everything is difficult. It just takes a lot of consistency and, like you said, the hard work. And eventually, you will get past that hill, and then it seems like it's all downhill in a good way. Just you speed up with your business,
Right,
not
yeah.
downhill.
Right, the business actually grows exponentially because your book of business grows, and then on the B2B side, if you will, right, like the realtor, the accountant side, once another realtor in that office sees that you're being very successful and the other realtor loves you, they tend to want to work with you. And I used to be very nervous in the beginning. I would call realtors and try to earn their business, and now it's turning, the tables are turning, right? I get the call,
Yeah.
and this is the biggest compliment I can get, not number of loans I do, but the calls I get, and they say, I'm so and so from this office, can I work with you? And that's the biggest compliment anyone can
Yeah,
receive.
it shows that
and-
people are valuing your work
Right.
and they see that you are working for them.
Right. So that's why I say you have to be patient in this industry. You have to just invest a year, 2 years maybe, and build your book of business. You cannot come in and expect to do 10 transactions in your second month. It's just not gonna happen.
Hey there, I hope you got value out of this video. And remember that our team at the Pocket Network is rooting for you. So you can't stop rooting for yourself, because change begins at home. In the meantime, like, subscribe, share, and as always, thanks for watching Mondays with Margs.